we're continuing our discussion in negotiation skills, coming from the series of techniques that were offered to us by the Harvard Research Project that looked at principled negotiations. And so we've come through several different techniques so far. Right now we're going to come back to the best alternative to a negotiated agreement and talk a little bit more about that. So with BATNA, the best alternative to a negotiated agreement, one of the things we're trying to determine is what's the minimum you will accept and what will you do if you don't get it. All right? So in doing this, we need to do a little bit about our homework. We want to understand what the other team is going to most likely present to us so that we understand the zone in which we can negotiate. So for example, let's say you want to sell a car and you've gone to one potential purchaser and they've given you a written offer for $1,000. Right? I take that information and now I go to another purchaser. Do you think I show them that written document? No. Okay? But what has that done for me now that I have that piece of information?
You've got a baseline.
I've got my baseline. All right, so that has now established my minimum of what I can accept. Or what? What do I do with this second purchaser? If I don't get my minimum, what's my option now? Go back to the first. I walk away. Okay, so I have the confidence to walk away knowing that I've got another alternative. So BATNA, if I've done my homework, I understand what my options are. This one they did some good homework. They actually got it in writing, right? And so they've got some understanding of what they're most likely going to be able to negotiate for. If I don't get at least that much, now I can walk away. Okay, so there's a couple of terms that we want to understand when we're going through this negotiation process. We want to understand both a target point and a reservation point. All right, so our target, the target point might also be considered a stretch goal or our dream. All right, so in this illustration, the diagram there is actually from the old elevators. If you remember the floor designator on an old elevator system, right? Let's picture now that we're about to go into some negotiations for some lease space for our building. And I'm in Jersey now. I'd love to be in New York with a great view, all right? So I have determined prior to my negotiations that I want to at least be on the 40th floor or above in a 100-story building that they're still renovating. Okay, so the upper floors still haven't been completed, but my target is I want to be at least at the 40th floor. I know when I look out the windows at the 40th floor, I can see the Statue of Liberty. Okay, so I get a good vantage point. I know at least there I can see it. Anywhere above would be great. All right, so my dream or my stretch goal or my target might be that I'd love to be in the 99th floor. I'm not going to be so brave as to say the 100th floor. I don't expect to get in the penthouse. All right, so it's a stretch to even get to 99, but I know I'm not going to get to 100. All right, anything above 40 would be great. Now, my reservation point would be if I don't at least get to the 40th floor, there's several other buildings in the area. I know I can at least get to the 40th floor in these other buildings that have some lease space available, right? In this economy, would it be reasonable to think that there's other floor space available?
Yes.
Okay. So one, I may have done my homework, or two, I may just be cognizant of the economic times and realize there's going to be some other options. Hopefully I've done my homework. Okay, so as we're doing this, we meet with our leasing agent. Now the leasing agent is doing these in phases, so they plan to put tenants in the higher floors a bit later, thinking that the first set of floors is going to command a certain price. The upper floors, again, we're going to wait for another phase. We can ask for a higher price based on the time and availability and the location, right? So they might have in their mind that I want to get this tenant into anything below the 50th floor. So do we have an opportunity to negotiate in that scenario? So where would you say we can negotiate, Dan?
between 40 and 50.
There you go. All right, so now I've got a zone that we've established, my ZOPA, or my zone of possible agreement. All right, so there is hope that we can negotiate with this particular opportunity. Let's try that. All right, so with that opportunity, we could actually find some room to negotiate. In terms of this scenario being slightly reversed, let's say that the leasing agent says, I'm only willing to put them in the 40th floor or below. And you had said, I want to be in the 50th floor or above. Do we have an opportunity to negotiate in that situation? No. So we've lost our hope or our ability to actually negotiate. This one we know we need to walk away from. So the goal would be to determine where our zone of opportunity is and negotiate within that.
Okay, very good.